How about now?
How about now?
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now, Judith?
Okay, thank you. We okay? Do you guys start over?
Sorry,
Do everything?
did somebody second?
Yes,
Yes,
Who?
I did.
Thank you.
and it passed. Okay, at this time, we'll open up the floor to public comment.
Chingus Dominguez, resident of Southgate. All right, so commissioners, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I got an email from an agency called the California Endowment letting me know that Regional Park and Open Space District that oversees the Measure A funds, they're going to have their next round of competitive grants this month, July, $50 million. And I asked the council members for the past two council meetings to go after the competitive grants and to do just one thing this fiscal year, and that is plans and designs on a 3,000 square foot splash pad at Southgate Park. And when I spoke with the old monkey, Hurtado, his concern was, well, I don't know, how are we going to afford to pay for the maintenance and the cost of repairs and services? And I said, look, you know they have a special program that the Regional Park and Open Space District, anything that gets funded with Measure A funds, our city can apply for that program to cover the cost of maintenance, repairs, and services for projects that are funded with Measure A funds. He says, yeah, but I want something that's going to last forever. That's going to be like, in perpetuity. It's like, well, I don't know. I'd have to call and ask how long the Measure A funds are going to be around. Maybe you know, Mr. Cossey. I don't know. If there's an end date or a year when all this stuff goes away. But so the thing that I have with the old monkey is, how is it that we're getting a $29 million, 7.5 acre pocket park called Urban Orchard Park? We can afford to staff and maintain that $29 million, 7.5 acre facility. Yet the old monkey is telling me we can't afford to go after a $2 million, 3,000 square foot splash pad. The numbers don't add up. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. And how is it that Bell, and I found out that Bell has 2 splash pads. How come Bell can afford their splash pads? Huntington Park has 2. They can afford the maintenance and repairs for theirs. Paramount has 1. Whittier has 1. All these cities around us have 1. By the way, commissioners, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Downey is on the move. They're going after a splash pad for their residents. And when I watched their city council meetings, and when they did their overview budget for the year, the director, Jason Chacon, stated that they're going to go after it. And the very next day, I called Jason Chacon, Director of Parks and Recreation for City of Downey. I said, Mr. Chacon, is this a legitimate project? Are they going after it? He said, yes. And I asked him, is it on Downey's list of capital improvement projects? He says, no, it isn't. It's on the strategic plan. Well, how do you like that? The very thing that I was trying to do last year with the council members, put it on the strategic plan, Downey is doing it themselves. So I want to say the reason, the thing that I have with the council members, they are deliberately indifferent towards the wants and desires of the residents. You see, it's the same fucking shit, council meeting after council meeting. You look at the agenda. The agenda tells you everything you need to know about our city council members. It is all geared towards the benefit of our departments. The departments are the ones that are scoring agenda after agendas. Where do you see the wishes and desires of the residents on the agenda? I can only think of 4 instances where we got something on
Mr.
there.
Dominguez, your time's up.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Okay, we'll close the public comments. Okay, open session items. Number 1, HSA annual report for 2024.
Good evening, council members. We have a representative here from HSA to provide their annual report for the year. And we'll let her introduce herself and give you the update. Make sure the light's green.
Yes. Good evening, council members. My name is Catherine Villanueva. I am the Director of Early Childhood Education Department for Human Services Association. I'm here to present our 2024-2025 Southgate Annual Report. The program overview of this is basically the services that we provide at the Westside Resource Center as well as the Hollydale Center. Pasitos, we call ourselves Pasitos, and our department is part of Human Services Association, a nonprofit serving Southeast Los Angeles County. Our focus is early childhood education for children 0 to 5 years old, including pregnant women, and we use the high scope curriculum as part of their learning activities. The accomplishments that we have had for the 24-25 school year includes we were able to provide year-round full-day in-person services to the children in the program in our West Side Center as well as in the Holidale Center. In the Holidale Center, we have 16 toddlers in the program, and in our West Side Center, we served 93 children at one time, and they're there all day. We have 2 classrooms of 48 children, wherein we provide services from 6:15 in the morning till 5:30 in the afternoon. So this is a service that we are providing families who are full-time working parents. And we also do parent engagement, where we have monthly meetings and trainings for our parents. And we also started a 10-week program, which we called Abriendo Puertas, Opening Doors, which is focusing on on enhancing their parenting skills and working with their child at home. We also have our home-based program where we do socialization activities twice a month in the West Side Center. And with regards to the community, we have provided services to the community wherein we've had walk-in clients. We have also provided them with resources to other activities that HSA offers, and we've also collaborated with the police department and fire department to provide safety trainings and skills to the children. We've also used the parks as part of our back-to-school and picnics that we have done with the children, and also parent workshops. And for our goals for the following school year, or we've already started 25-26, is that we want to expand our services to children, and we also want to enhance our supports and resources for homeless and foster children, which we have a partnership now with DCFS. We have families receiving public assistance. We have also an increased services for children with special needs in our classrooms and having inclusion services for them. And also, we have provided mental health support, not only to children, but also to parents. And we are also making sure that families are always involved in their child's learning and activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any questions?
Questions? No, I read this. I don't have any notes.
Yeah. So how long have you guys been servicing the city? And also want to thank you guys for all the work that you do, for all the services you provide. It seems very comprehensive, and especially just visually, I have seen a lot of the delivery trucks delivering
senior
food for the
services.
seniors, and it's always great to see, because I can't imagine how difficult it could be for some of them. But yeah, how long have you been in Southgate, and how do people find out about your services, and how do they sign up?
So we've been serving the city of Southgate for more than 15 years. I am new to the program. I'm actually only hit my 4-year mark. In terms of getting a lot of what, excuse me, a lot of our clients is actually mostly by word of mouth. We do have social media, we do have posters or signs in the area, but a lot of it is really mostly through word of mouth because of the comprehensive services that HSA does. I'm only one department, which our focus is 0 to 5 years old, but we also have another department that focuses on family services and family preservation, and also support for domestic violence. So that's for women. And then we also have a senior services department, which is the ones that you see because they do food deliveries to seniors at home. And we also have an Alzheimer's daycare for seniors in one of our facilities. So we, and all of that, because it is by word of mouth, not only are we able to provide services to a child in our preschool classroom, but we also get to provide services to grandma or grandpa who has Alzheimer's in one of our centers. So the parents are actually glad that we're in in the area, because not only are we providing it for their child, but also for their parent.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of word of mouth and partnerships with the cities.
That's great. And I think I read that a lot of, is it most of your programs that are already full and waitlisted, or is it all of them?
We are starting a new school year. We do have, we still have slots available in our preschool program. But usually we get more enrollments as the summer ends. So we do participate in the summer activities and let all the family members in the city know about all of our services.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
What do you just service Southgate, or are there all other communities that are serviced as well?
We serve the Southeast LA area, so we not only Southgate, we also have majority of our preschool centers are in Southgate, but we do have 2 centers in Huntington Park, but mostly in Southgate. And then HSA as a whole does provide services depending on the department in the whole Southeast LA area, Cudahy, Linwood. In terms of our senior services, they provide Meals on Wheels actually from the city of Long Beach all the way to Monrovia.
Okay. Thank you for that. Regarding, you mentioned that senior daycare, is that a new addition, or has that been?
We've had that for a while now. We started it back up after COVID. We do have 22 seniors it's in our Bell Garden site in our main office.
Okay.
There's 22 seniors who are there on a daily basis who have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
Great. The parent trainings that you have, is that a facility in Southgate? Do you do that at the facilities in Southgate?
Yes, we do. We do have it in our West Side Center. So we have we provide the parent trainings there. We also provide parent trainings at the Holidale Center and all our other Southgate centers.
Yeah. In those centers, the trainings that you provide, I know that you said there's like variety of classes with regards to nutrition and child care and stuff. Are there any other, or do you guys sort of survey the people that receive benefits from you to see if there's an interest in other types of trainings?
Yes, at the beginning of every school year, when we do the enrollments, we actually have the parents fill out an interest form of what trainings they would like to receive. And based on that, that's when we plan for the different trainings that we provide at each of the centers.
Sure.
So there's certain centers that have other trainings, and because those are the interests of the family. There was, for example, there has been trainings that parents were interested in with regards to financial planning. We've also had trainings where we actually invited somebody with regards to immigration because that was something that they asked for. So we have provided those. We get resources in the community. We also partner with Head Start. We also partner with the California Head Start Association, who provides us with resources or speakers who can come out and provide those trainings, who are local, that can come out as needed.
Yeah, can you share some of the maybe items or topics that have come up in that interest list here in Southgate specifically?
In Southgate, we've had about there was about parenting skills. There was we also had one with regards to immigration. We had a training with regards to children with special needs and behavior concerns and their rights as parents once their child is identified with a special need. So it falls under their education and what support services can be provided and what resources are available in the community. We've also, with financial, there was financial literacy with regards to planning of how to buy a house. And there was also planning with regards to for their child's college, a college fund.
Okay. Yeah, I ask because I know that we've discussed some challenges with some of the seniors with regards to technology and perhaps having something like that in the city of Southgate. Is there room, for example, for something like that within your programming?
Yes, we can. We could definitely do something like that. Our family services department, though, we did partner with Dell, wherein families went through a 9 weeks I'm sorry, 10 weeks of training with regards to technology, and then they were given a laptop at the
Wow.
end of the training. So that was something that was also that we're working on for this school year to provide that more of that in all of the centers.
Do you have any of that on the horizon for Southgate specifically?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And when would we be, or when can we expect that to be in place?
Probably towards the end of the year. We usually do that around November, December.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, that's good. And do you guys have someone within your organization that deals like with social media and focuses on that specifically, or is it
Yes, we do have somebody who is in charge of our social media. He does the postings of stories of the different activities that we have done in our different departments.
okay.
It's HSA LA. If you look at it, and there's a
Okay.
lot of stories with regards to end of the year where we were at the park, where the children and the parents were able to do activities together. And so we try to post that in our social media to share also the different experiences the families
Senior
have.
activities there too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, and that's I'm gonna take a look at the website just to familiarize myself with it, and I ask because I know again we've discussed some challenges with seniors and just adults in general with technology, and it'd be great to be able to work with our department to not only promote some of our programming but also drive some traffic towards you guys and get that going.
Would definitely appreciate that. We could work on that.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Yes.
Um,
Awesome.
I guess one other question, the survey or whatever interest list that you hand out, is that specific to your organization, or is that something also that includes maybe questions regarding Southgate or the Parks and Rec department, for example?
It's what's in our organization, but once we find out like what it is that families need, then we usually will contact
Direct them. Yeah.
like your city, and ask for assistance in terms of, parents want to have a training with regards to this, or we would call Steve and ask Steve, can we use the playground or the park because parents would like to try especially the Holidale one when it just opened. All the kids wanted to try, to go into the park. So we would usually contact and say, could we have a field trip at that time
Sure.
there, type of thing. So parents are also introduced. But police department usually comes out. They're the ones that the kids love.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great if we can maybe set up some sort of collaboration. That way we can start asking maybe a broader base of residents so that we can find out. The last question I have is regarding special needs. You mentioned that you have some programming around that.
Yes.
I know that we had our Easter event where there was a group of special needs youth that were looking to participate, but there wasn't necessarily something sort of designed for them, right? Is that something that maybe you guys can be involved with as well, since you already have that knowledge and
Yes.
training for that?
Yes, definitely. We would love to be able to do that and provide support. We have in our department we have a disabilities and inclusion specialist who works with LAUSD as well as the regional center with regards to providing those supports. And we also have some special education teachers, so we can always collaborate in terms of the events, what we can do, or what are the things that we could adjust or in the environment so that the children with special needs don't they don't have that anxiety, because
Sure.
sometimes the noise triggers them, or
Yes.
sometimes the color might trigger them. But if we have a way to be able to include them in such a way that they could be there, then we would love to be able to do that with you.
Okay, yeah, that's great. I think that's a good start, and maybe we can come up with something. So yeah, it'd be great if either Steve follows up with you, or maybe Tina can follow up and maybe start working on something like that. I think the two important things would be the technology piece and then the special needs piece.
That would be awesome. We do have a lot of children, especially this year. We are starting our school year with 24% of our enrollment is children who have already been diagnosed with a special need. So
Okay.
being able to work and collaborate with regards to providing inclusion for them would be an awesome thing for the community.
All right, thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone?
I have no questions for you. I just simply wanted to tell you thank you.
Thank
Your
you.
program is very great. I know a few families that have benefited from your program,
Thank you.
and I myself have recommended as well too. So it's really good. So thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank
everything you
you.
do and everybody and your staff. I appreciate it.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. It feels good to know that families appreciate our program, but that's why we're here. It's
Yeah,
for them.
for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay. Sure, I'll open up the public comment.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so I don't know who did the item report for this. This is one of the greatest item reports I've ever read. I love detail, the way this thing was put together and the way it was broken up, and it addressed each facility and the programs at each facility. It was marvelous. I read it from start to finish all in one go. Marvelous job. The thing the wish that I have, one of the wishes that I have for our city is to have a computer lab for our people. A place where high school students, college-age students, young adults, older adults that are going to community college or going to get a degree, or people just want to do reports and do studies, go on the internet. I would love for us to have a computer lab somewhere in our city. Is there any way that this HSA organization, I was told that they're a national organization, so is there any way they can contribute towards putting together a computer lab for our residents? That would be a dream come true for me personally. I would love to see that. And what was it? So they use the Holidale Community building, right? That's immediately south of the park, of Holidale Community Park. So, Mr. Costa, honestly, I feel like as if we're being ripped off with our auditorium and we're just saying no to all these fees. I mean, the amount of money, that's loot right there that you could be using for our parks and the recreation department. Is there any way, and I don't want to rip off these HSA folks because they're doing terrific work. Can we have them pay a fee for the use of that building? I think it's only fair. I mean, they're using the building for free, pro bono. So that would be my request for them to pay a fee also. Thank you.
Okay, any other public comment? Okay, we'll close the public comment. Just for myself, thank you very much for the program that you're running. I also agree that the insert is very well detailed and it was beautiful. Thank you. Very, very well written, very understandable, and it does open it up for a lot of the questions that my colleague had here. And I went to your website. It was very understandable as well. I love the pictures, the videos. So I really commend you and your team for what you guys are doing. At this time, can I get a motion to file? Receive and file?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Uh,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 2, oral report regarding Quimby fees.
Once again, commissioners, welcome for the evening. I'd like to introduce to you our newest director in the city of Southgate. No, you're not the newest director, are you anymore? No, he's like an old hat now, been here a whole 2 months or something. Gabriel Perez is the director of community development. When you guys requested information on Quimby fees, I'm not the expert, but sometimes you gotta go find the expert, and he's right here down the hallway. And so I asked Gabe if he would come over and give a little presentation, and he's agreed to it. So I'll let him talk about the Quimby fees.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Chair and Commission. Gabriel Perez, I'm your Community Development Director. I'm happy to be here. I think it's 3 months on the job now, so really excited about that. I'm not sure if I'm the expert on Quimby, but I did come from a city that did have Quimby fees. So I was part of the implementation of that. And just to give you a background of me, I came from the city of Coachella. It was a city that was park poor at one time, and the park conditions were not that great. And then there was a big effort to really invest a lot in the parks. They were underfunded. There were Quimby fees that were on the books. I'm going to go into what those are, but they were not updated every year. They have to be updated. There was no parks that were being built in all these subdivisions that were being constructed. And so it's something that requires leadership by the city to really take that on. I had a dentist appointment, so it's going to be hard for me to talk a little bit as well. So pardon me as I go through this. All right. So if you look at, I did print out something for you for as a guide. But the Quimby Act that was adopted in 1965 by the state legislator, and it does allow cities to require dedication of land or impose fees as a condition for residential subdivision maps. And this is for creating and maintaining recreation facilities. So this fee really is for like cities that are building like new developments, right? And for those developments to be able to build parks, and so parks to be able to catch up with the growth in the community. I know in this case here with Southgate, Southgate's a built out community, right? So how does this work for the city of Southgate? And we'll talk about that a little bit more. If you go to the next one, it talks about fee or land dedications. And the goal is to be able to have at least 3 acres of parkland for every 1,000 residents in a subdivision. And that's based on household size. So when I did some research on City of Southgate, it's 3.7 persons per household. So, you know, per 1,000, you would need 3 acres for 1,000 residents. You could actually set a higher standard for the city, but only if you actually achieve 3 acres per 1,000. So some cities that already have that standard, they could set up a higher goal of 5 acres per 1,000. We're not at that 3 acres per 1,000 here in the city. Maybe you've heard about that already before in the past. So fees can only be used for community parks and recreation facilities. And those fees must be used within a period of 5 years, or they have to be returned to the developer that paid for them. So next, you'll see, so what you could do with those fees is for a developer not to pay the fee, they could actually dedicate land instead of paying those fees. So if there was a subdivision, single family homes, they could actually dedicate the park and also build the park without having to pay the fees. You could set a fee instead. So a lot of times the developer doesn't want to build it. A lot of times they prefer to pay the fee. That fee is usually charged as a development impact fee on the building permit. And so the city would have to do establish what that fee is. And then when the developer pulls a permit, then that's when it's charged and the city collects it. Or you can do a combination, right? So if a developer is going to dedicate park space and they haven't dedicated the right amount of parkland, they could pay the difference with the in lieu fee. Next, you'll see what the eligible costs are. So they could be used for the acquisition of land by the city. So if we collected that fee, we could use that fee to buy land. But we could also use that to develop new park facilities. So that could include the grading, landscaping, utilities, irrigation. And then it could also be used for improvements on existing parks. So it could go into facilities as well. And it could also go into design and planning costs. I did look at some stats for the city of Southgate, and I pulled this from your park and recreation master plan. At least the one I found was 2008. So I'm assuming that that's probably the most relevant, right? So that's kind of like what we have in planning is our general plan. So this is kind of like your blueprint, right, for the future of parks in the city. This table comes from there. So at least at that time, Southgate only had 1.65 acres of parkland per 1,000 persons. And so it's below that 3 acre per 1,000 threshold. And here's a comparison to the other cities. Again, this is from 2008, so this could have changed it. I'm assuming it probably got a little bit better. Do you happen to know? I don't know if Steve might know the stat offhand. 197 acres. Okay. So I also pulled the. All right. Yeah. So I also pulled this table from that park study, which shows all the parkland. And I know there's new parkland that's been dedicated since then. That includes the Urban Orchard, and I think there was expansion to a park that's called Cesar Chavez Park, and then, sorry about that. I apologize if these printed backwards for you in your packet.
No, they're fine.
Okay. So then how would this look like in the city of Southgate? So what I tried to do was identify how the Quimby fees could be calculated. Again, it's a formula that's created. So based on 3 acres per 1,000 people, you have to multiply that by the number of persons per household in the city. And so since that's 3.7, you get a factor of 0.0111. And then you multiply that by how much the market rate is per acre of land. I pulled this number. It could be lower than this. I think it is lower than this. But a recent sale for an acre of land was 2.8 million. Sounds pretty high to me. But if you were to use that as a basis of the average price of an acre of land in the city of Southgate, you multiply that by that factor. With this, you would get about $31,500. So that fee would be charged per unit. Now you have to think again, how many units are we going to have produced in the city of Southgate? A lot of it, you're going to see more of the high density. Would have to be like a for sale product in the city. So we had the Della project that was recently approved. So if we had the development impact fee in place, it could be $31,500 that were charged per unit. If you go to the next slide, in the Park and Recreation Master Plan, there are some things identified for a long-term funding strategy for parks, and it does identify other things besides the Quimby fees. So it talks about an asset management program or implementing a citywide park maintenance assessment district or establishing a commercial impact fee. So I'll go into that a little bit, but that's a little bit different than the Quimby fee, because the Quimby fee is a one-time fee that's paid by development. It's really not supposed to be used for regular park maintenance. And I'll show you what the development impact fees look like from the city that I came from. So on each permit, you would have a fee that's charged on, these would be fees charged for each building permit. There you had 2 fees. So the park land fee is actually the Quimby fee, and that got assessed at $1,300 per single family unit. Now this is much lower than the $31,000 I gave you because the land is a lot cheaper out there. Here it's a lot more expensive. And multifamily was charged at $1,100 per unit. So you multiply that by all the units you could expect to come into the city in the future. But the city also adopted a separate fee from that, because Quimby fees is really supposed to be used to buy new parkland. That's really the goal, to expand the amount of park space you have. Well, then how are you going to pay for all the improvements? So the city did adopt a separate fee, which was a park improvement fee. And I don't know what it takes to build a park today. I remember 20 years ago, that fee was about $250,000 an acre. It's probably almost doubled by this time. So, so that's something to consider as well. Besides a Quimby fee, a park improvement fee that could be charged per building permit. And then last, I just presented some alternatives, because I assume maybe the commission was thinking about ways to be able to help maintain or build parks in the city. And one thing to consider is maybe a citywide park assessment district fee, because I'm not sure how many, since we are a built out city, how many new residential units we could expect. And then that to be a big pot of money that could be used by the city. But a citywide park assessment district, some cities have that. Here, the citizens would have to choose to tax themselves to be able to pay for those that park fee. The other thing to think about is joint use facilities with the LA Unified School District. Actually, don't know if we have any of that in place, but that could be an alternative as a way to save costs on parks, because essentially schools almost have like their own park, right, on their school facilities. And then last is public-private partnerships. And I remember I saw a good example of this in the city of Anaheim. There's a developer there that built the Anaheim Packing House, and then next to it is a place called Farmers Park. And that's actually maintained by a private developer, but it looks like it's a public park. But that's a good example, very nice park, but it looks like it integrates with the community. So I did want to present that to you. I love Southgate Park. I'm there every single day. It's one of the best parts of being here at Southgate. I'm running there all the time and going into the gym. So I want to do whatever I can to support parks in the city. Any questions?
So for the park improvement fees, is that something that the building department has to do? Is that something that has to go through the voters? Is that something that has to be approved by council, by the planning commission, or?
Yeah, so council would need to adopt a Quimby fee ordinance. And then the Quimby fee ordinance would require us to be able to establish what that fee is going to be. So what we would have to do is, there's a few things we'd have to do is do an appraisal of what land costs to be able to establish what the cost per acre is. And then that would allow us to establish the fee. So if they adopt the ordinance, then we would be able to assess that fee through the building division.
So would the park improvement fee be in conjunction with the Quimby fee, or is that something different?
That would have to be different. So the city council would have to say, we won't want to establish this development impact fee. And then there would have to be a study done to justify the fee, like what that fee amount is going to be.
Got it. And when you spoke about the joint use facilities with LAUSD, I know as a city we've been having trouble with that in the
Yeah,
recent
that too.
past. But one thing that comes to mind is the park across the street from where I grew up in Huntington Park. And I don't expect you to know, but the answer to this, but they have, when the school was built a couple of years ago, they kind of took over the park. It was Westside Park on Gage and Cottage. This was where I grew up. And so as part of the deal with the district, they built the high school, but included a combination of park that's part of the high school. And I don't really know how that works, but I'm kind of curious if what the mechanics behind that is, and if, I mean, I don't even know how that would work in Southgate.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting to see. Do we? With which legacy?
Yeah, it's called a memorandum of understanding. We allow them certain spaces they build in. For us, it's the baseball and softball fields there,
Oh,
or a
I see.
joint use build by the city in that. And then they agreed as LAUSD to redo some of the streets to allow access into the school areas. And so we have a memorandum of understanding, almost like a joint use agreement, but not quite. 'Cause
Okay.
we both own the facility. We use it, we contract out, we have specific timeframes and stuff for that. But the light and stuff on Chickamco is there because of this memorandum of understanding with it.
Okay, got it. So we do already have an agreement like that
Right.
that we can repeat if needed. But yeah, I guess that's the extent of my question. And I mean, personally, I feel like especially when we think about implementing this with the Adela project, I think that was something like 50 something units, or I
Yeah,
forget the
51
exact
units. Yeah.
amount. But yeah, that calculation really inflates that fee, the Quimby fee, and it has to be done with that particular calculation.
Mhm. Yeah, and those fees could be used anywhere in the city. Before it had to be within a close proximity to the development that was paying into it, but it could be used anywhere.
And do you know what the difference would be? Because with some of the agreements that are already made with some of the projects, and it's I think the confusing thing to me when it comes to those is how those are agreed upon, and how does the public know when something like that has happened, whether even the public is notified. Like, let's say with goals, I think they had some sort of agreement to donate or participate in park activities, right?
What happens on a lot of these is that as you put this process together, as Gabriel mentioned, you have to have the council agenda items first. We got to go through this process. We have to get the public's approval of it as a tax form, and you get Quimby or park improvement fees across the board. After that, we spell it all out in the different contracts that come. You could not use, even if they came up with a Quimby fee today, you couldn't use it on the Della project because they're already in that part. Once you have already issued permits and done stuff like that, you can't go back and go, hey, give me more money. That doesn't work. So, but it'd be for anything new. So if we were to miraculously turn something in, it would be from the day it's approved and moving forward, but you couldn't do anyone behind that and stuff. And then once you get that, if you were going to use a public-private partnership or something like that, that would come between the council making an agreement with the entity that's there. As we did with Goals, they have a ground lease agreement with the city. But as part of that, we also required them to give us 77 hours of use time in the city. We agreed to certain hours and timeframes like that. And that's, you negotiate those things back and forth as part of the overall ground lease agreement. So it depends on what the development would be and how you would use it. Like he said, you know, the place that has the public-private part, it has a park of its own that they maintain. There's some kind of insurance and other stuff that goes with that, and that would all be negotiated out.
You said that, or just correct me if I'm wrong, the Quimby fee is for, not necessarily just to build new parks. We can use it for additions or expansions to a park, or parts of a park.
Yes.
New building in a park or something like that. It's okay.
Yeah, you're
I mean, what's
really
the
not
basis?
supposed to do it for a whole bunch of, like, if you were going to build a whole new structure at Southgate
Right.
Park, it's not really intended for that.
Okay.
It's
But
really
if you're
intended more for
expanding
new
the
parks.
park, or,
Yeah.
or building a new park, or
Anything that increases capacity, I think is
Right,
supported.
okay.
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, Gabriel, thanks for that presentation. So, I mean, we missed the boat on the Adela project, obviously, right? But just a quick question regarding these Quimby fees, is it strictly for new construction, or would it also apply to additions or just improvements that are taking place on some of these properties?
Excuse me, I need to know at this time, Chair Flores left the meeting.
Thank you for that.
It applies for any new residential construction. So if you had like a infill lot, they would pay that fee as well. What I don't know, what you will see a lot of construction in the city is for accessory dwelling units, right?
Right.
And so I think that would be something that would be good for us to look at, because there's a lot of that going on in the city, and that has a big impact on parks, right? Because you're introducing more population in the city, and there's more of a demand that the city has to be able to meet. And that might be something for us to look at as well.
Yeah, I think so, because like you said, that's a popular addition to many properties that are coming up. So I think that would be great for us to be able to know. And then just to understand this the numbers that you provided. So with a 1.65 is where we are right now in terms of 1.65 acres per 1,000 residents, right? So what's recommended is 3 acres per 1,000, right? So we're just a little over half. How do we catch up, right? I know that there's not a lot of new construction going on, but the ADU might be something. If we don't use Quimby fees, for example, how do we catch up to try to better that number and get it higher?
I think being creative. I think there's been a lot of things that Steve and the city have done. It's the built out city looking for opportunities. I think the under the utility easement, that's been an area that the city's looked to be able to expand park space and work on joint agreement with the utility to be able to increase park space. So that's been a creative way to do that. So looking for opportunities like that. I saw the LA River master plan recently, and there are some plans in there for increasing regional park spaces there as well. I'm not sure how realistic that is, right? But it looks like a great vision that if it happens, that would potentially increase park space for the city as well. But
Yeah.
it's like, and then hearing from ideas like you, right? Maybe there's things the city isn't thinking of that we should think about. And I think that's the position that we're in, being a built out city.
Sure. So going back to the calculation that you walked us through, obviously land is going to vary in price depending on where it is, what its use is. Is that a formula that is set in stone, or do we have some flexibility with that? For example, the 31.5 that came up, right? Can we say, well, we're not going to apply 31.5, instead we're going to do 2,000, 2,500, because at the same time, we don't want to scare development away, right? We want to bring development into the city because it benefits the city, but we have to compensate for that additional use that our parks are going to have. And all that. Is there some flexibility with that?
I'm not sure if there's flexibility. We could always check, but it should be based on the average market rate purchase price of land in the city. So it requires a appraisal, and that appraisal has to be acknowledged by the city council. So whether they can reduce that amount, I'm actually not sure.
Okay. So yeah, if you can look into that for us, that way we can maybe work on something, right? That we can come up with and hopefully try to capture some of these things. So a little more on that, I guess. Some other questions that I would have is, so once that calculation is done, that's the basis of everything going forward, essentially, right? And I would like to know how that maybe takes place. Is it you're saying it's an average of just different land? Because I mean, if we go to the west side of Southgate, for example, pricing is going to be different there than maybe in the Holidale area, for example. So would it be an average of both areas, or?
Yeah, of all land in the city. And remember, this has to be updated every year because obviously the value of land increases every year as well.
Okay. So considering everything that, your experience in Coachella, looking at what our situation here in Southgate is, where do you see this going forward? Like how do you envision us being able to capture some of these fees, for example, from developers that are coming in? And how do you envision you working on something to be able to help us capture that and be able to improve parks within the city?
Well, so there is a development impact fee study going on right now that I understand, and so I'm not sure if Quimby fees are being looked at right now. So if that was something that you wanted the council to study, I understand that they take recommendations from the commission. So that's something that could probably be evaluated right now, since that study is going on right now. I think there's a lot of other challenges that we have as a city on how to build more parks. There's a lot of funding available to build parks from the state, a lot of great funding that we're eligible for, just because there's areas that are considered disadvantaged that qualify as a city, but there's not a lot of funding that allows us to maintain them.
Sure.
Unfortunately, right? So I think looking at some public-private partnerships, some of that's already happened. The others could be community benefits through a community benefits agreement for a new development that happens. So if you have some of these industrial projects that are built, other cities have ensured that they're committed to dedicating park space as part of their development and maintaining it. You just have to look at those opportunities.
Yeah. And is that something that you see as something that maybe, you know, I know you've been here 3 months, but going forward, is that something that you would recommend and say, hey, this is where we're sort of falling short, right? And we can definitely benefit from this because yes, there's grants that we can use to build parks. I mean, I know Urban Orchard is almost exclusively all grants, right? So it would be great to have additional monies to be able to enhance other things in other parks and build on and augment whatever opportunities we have. So again, I think that it would be good to visit that, especially because that study is taking place now, and be able to make some suggestions to that so that we don't miss the boat on upcoming developments. You know, I know there's not a lot of land, but things are changing. You know, the housing shortage is definitely making people think up in Sacramento and other places, and there could be some new construction coming forward. I know we have a vacant lot corner of Tweedy and Atlantic that it's been thought of, and they had some plans to develop it, but now they didn't. And so again, we don't want to miss the boat, and we want to make sure that we're able to secure some of that funding so that we can improve our parks and enhance what's there. So I really like to hear, you know, back from you in terms of some ideas that you know, we can implement maybe or suggest to City Council, creative ideas that would help us. You know, I know we're not going to catch up with what's already built, but at least, you know, generate some more and help us with that. So yeah, it'd be great if maybe we can follow up on some of those things and let us know. And I think that's gonna do it for us, for me in terms of this. I don't know if my colleagues have any other questions.
I actually had another question related to kind of something that my colleague here just mentioned regarding how to assess the value of land and how that's taken into account with the formula. And just keeping in mind that a lot of the recent developments are taking part in formerly industrial land. And so oftentimes a lot of these properties are already contaminated. Is that something, are those properties assessed then during the purchase of the property, seeing as to the potential of contamination? I know that, like you mentioned, there's a lot of state grants and a lot of them have to do with that, those kinds of properties, because there is an assumption that there's cleanup to be done. And so I'm curious to see if Quimby fees are affected in any way with those kinds of properties, because oftentimes we are seeing a lot of these properties being redeveloped into either mixed use or solely residential. And does even having them be mixed use affect their qualification for Quimby fees?
Yeah, if you saw one slide where I took an example of Coachella's fees, they're charged on multifamily and single family homes. So they would be assessed on either type of residential development, even if it was mixed use. It's not charged on commercial development alone.
So if they're mixed use, it would just count on the number of
The
residential
residential
units.
units. Mhm.
Okay, so it could still be applied.
Mhm.
And what about the value though? Like, is that?
Yeah, when I remember doing this, we got an appraisal. They look at the price of land at various, sales price throughout the city, and I think, from what I understand, it's like an average of what's out there. So you, like what was mentioned before, you might have, an area where land prices are higher, another area where they're less, and then essentially they're going to do an average of all those, the sales price for land in all the areas of the city.
Yeah, because that would be my concern too, because a lot of the open or free land we have has already a lot of obstacles on them. Whether having a Quimby fee would dissuade development for residential purposes in any of those properties.
Yeah, I think cities have to be careful with development impact fees in terms of how much they are, because $31,000, if that was going to be the fee, that was just an example. That's a really high fee. But if you look at the development impact fees we have in the city in general, because we don't have that many compared to some of the some other cities, so in its totality, they're actually pretty low.
Yeah, and I agree with what my colleague mentioned, that this is definitely something that I see as important, but I think my concern has to do with the existing facilities and the maintenance on them, because it is going to be taking a toll on our city's budget, and I would hate to see anything cut because there isn't enough funding. And so I feel like what I would lean towards suggesting for our council to look into would be either the park improvement fees. What's the feasibility on that, and what are the feasibility on? I mean, I know that there's already community benefit agreements, so I don't even know if we would have to do any suggestions on that. But definitely the park improvement fees for any new residential additions. But yeah.
So I actually have one more thing, Gabe, if if it's possible. Would it be possible just to get an idea of how much we've missed out on, for example, the last 10 years, what new construction has taken place in the city, and just to know how many units, for example, have been built, right? Just to kind of get an idea of I know if we use the 31.5, it's going to be a lot of money, maybe, right? But just to kind of get an idea of what we've missed out on over the years as a result of not having these fees.
And just so everyone knows, I brought Gabriel here to kind of give you information. He's not going to have all those answers right away, and that's more of a community development and some of the other after we have fees things. So I try not to abuse the man, or he'll never come back and answer my phone again.
Well,
So, the initial request was, how do we do
Sure,
it? I don't want to overburden him just because he happens to be the director of community development.
Yeah, and I understand that. I just again, we want to look forward and want to be prepared for anything that coming or going forward may benefit the community, right? So just to kind of get an idea, and I think that would make a strong case for suggesting these kind of changes and fees. Not today, obviously, but maybe a few months from now or something. We can have additional information that'll also give you some time to maybe look into the calculation on how all of this is sort of calculated, the value of land, what's included, what isn't, that kind of stuff. I know that it's a lot of info, and so we don't want to say, hey, come back next week and give us this, but I think it would be useful for us, for the council, and for even the planning commission to be able to have this information.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you for the feedback. Anything else? Just want to share answering your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gabe. I really appreciate your time on this.
Thank you.
Should we open up for public comment? Let's do that then.
Fascinating topic. Thank you so much, Mr. Perez. So we have two directors here. So the big question that I have for the two directors, and Mr. Costa, you probably don't know this, Mr. Perez, I don't assume you know this, but to the best of anyone's knowledge, when was the last time the city of Southgate collected Quimby fees? Does anybody have a decade? Going forward, so what are the two directors going to do to ensure that our city is collecting its share of Quimby fees? I mean, when I spoke with the former director of community development, Meredith Elguita, last year, asking her about this, I asked her, does our city collect Quimby fees? And she says, no. As a matter of fact, your city hasn't collected Quimby fees in several years. But I was stupid enough. I dropped the ball. I didn't ask her the follow-up question, well, when was the last time we collected Quimby fees? I should have thought of that back then. And the reason why I became aware of Quimby fees was in doing my research for the splash pad and how it could be funded for plans and designs and cost of construction. Manuel Carrillo Jr., the Director of Parks and Recreation for City of Baldwin Park, they have 2 splash pads. He said, well, you could use ARPA funds, you could use Measure A funds, you could use CDBG funds, and you can use Quimby fees. And I had never heard of Quimby fees. But the question that I have for Mr. Perez is Manuel Carrillo Jr. correct? Can Quimby fees be used towards park enhancement projects, park amenity projects, such as a splash pad? And I'm just putting that out there. If you know, great. If you don't, oh well. But the thing is, commissioners, think of, see, this right here highlights what I've been saying all along, that our city is a fucked up operational mess. You had the director right here saying that our impact fees are low. I mean, how fucked up is that? Think of I'm going to guess millions of dollars. Oh, the other question I have for Mr. Perez is, can Quimby fees be applied towards big franchise chains like the Blaze, like In-N-Out, like Chipotle? I mean, they make what, $1 million a month? I mean, can we collect on Quimby fees on big franchise chains, or is it just residential developments? And see, I learned something very interesting. So instead of collecting Quimby fees, the developments can set aside land that could be part of that property for park space. Mr. Perez, if you can implement that going forward with some of these developments, I mean, it's the west side of our city, the north side of our city, it's like a fucking desert. There's no park space. So if you could work some land agreement where part of that land is going to be park space, I mean, that would be a golden opportunity. We can't miss out on that. And well, also the commissioners, the planning commissioners. We have the chair of the planning commission here, Commissioner Ruiz. What are you going to do to push the planning commission to see that we're collecting our Quimby fees? I mean, this is why I keep saying that, we're in a rip-off city here. This is another thing that we've been ripped off and missed out on collecting these Quimby fees. And so do you see how one department elevates and helps and assists another department? Here you have the community development department helping out the Department of Parks and Recreation. And as you know, if the director, if Mr. Costley doesn't have any money in his budget, guess what? He can't do a motherfucking thing for our Department of Parks and Recreation. This is an excellent opportunity to fund our Department of Parks and Recreation and get him the money that he needs to maintain our parks, to build parks, to give us better and greater things. And commissioners, I stress that you make this a priority for our Department of Parks and Recreation, especially the Planning Commission. We got 2 planning commissioners here, for crying out loud. So this is something that should be a top priority for our commissioners to pursue. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks. Do any of you want to address any of the comments?
Well, the simple answers are, first of all, the city's never had a Quimby fee, or there would already be a Quimby ordinance. So we've never had one. And so once you make a Quimby ordinance or any of those, they stay permanently, more or less.
And it can't be charged on commercial development.
And
like
it
you
can't be
mentioned.
charged on
Only
commercial events.
new residential.
And as I already noted, this is an information on what is a Quimby fee. It's not a directional for council, for Gabe, for anyone else. When we love input, those are totally separate things that we would have to deal with.
Thank you, Steve and Gabe. As for my fellow commissioners, does anybody want to make a motion to receive and file, or to make a recommendation? Or can we? No recommendations? Okay, so I guess we're just limited to receive and file.
Make the motion.
All approve?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. So next on to item number 3.
Before we
Thank
go,
you.
thank you, Gabe,
Thank you.
for coming in and, visiting us at the beautiful Parks and Recreation. We visit you at the CDBG meetings and we take your money, and you come visit us and tell us how we can get more. All right.
Anytime.
Sure. Thank you.
Anytime. Thank you. All right, so item number 3, oral report on update of the Parks and Recreation Master Plan.
Yes. Good evening, Commission. Once again, normal part of our work plan for the Parks and Recreation Commission is an update on the master plan. As the Commission is well aware, we did not go forward with updates on the master plan for this year due to budget considerations, and we've known this for a number of months, does not mean that the Parks and Recreation Department has not moved forward on the request from the original master plan. In front of you, for all of you, is an invitation to our newest master plan development, which is the Urban Orchard Project. That's this Saturday at 10 a.m. If you are coming, get there early because the parking is limited. All right, we do have a shuttle service from the UWS site for those who are late, but there is not that much, and we're expecting a decent sized crowd. As Commissioner Pelayo asked, there is bike access, but it's not on the riverbed. Okay, the gate that sits there doesn't open for this park, so that's not there. But as far as it goes for master plan and what has been asked for, one of the bigger things we had as we did master planning throughout the Parks and Recreation Department is we did a area specific master plan for our east side parks. For Hollydale, it was the Hollydale master plan. If you were to go back to see that one that we completed at that time, I think 2013 or so, at that time when we completed, 2018, sorry, it was heavy on how do we fix what we have, right? Fix what we have and add any additional space. Well, this is one of those years that is unique amongst us. For the 36 years, we're opening 3 new parks in 1 year. That's unheard of in any city on a realistic basis. Hollydale Community, which most of you guys attended to, great little park. Funniest thing is the favorite thing of all the kids to do is actually roll down the hill. I don't know why we put all the equipment in. We could have just built hills and let them roll down the hill and we would have been fine. They love that part, right? Circle Park's in progress. It's been moving along. It's a little slower, but it's still, 5.5 to 7 acres of land moved there. And it's a lot of space. And but it's well on its way. We're getting that one done. I'm expecting that one mid to end of August to be open. That's our look ahead right now. And then obviously the Urban Orchard new land. So as a overall Parks and Recreation master plan, we have taken a look at both the overall one and the Hollydale one and definitely moved forward. I can tell you, 5 years ago, we received tons and tons of complaints. Nothing new in Area 5, nothing for all that whole area. Well, you can't say that anymore because Area 5's gotten everything lately. And it's not like we stopped there. We have new fencing at the park. We've got upcoming projects, as both Mr. Dominguez and Mr. Pelayo know. We've got a lot of CDBG funding for tot lot surfacing, for Boy Scout areas, for roofs, for different things throughout the park. Almost $1.2 million. Can't remember off the top of my head. All right. Well, most of that was, the other part of it was we got, most of that was funding for parks. The other part was the road surfacing, which has been completed at Industrial, Hildreth, and Pinehurst, which were the 3 places we asked for, which was part of that CDBG run that we got. So we not only are building parks, we're fixing up what we got and doing that. So as a master plan, even though we don't have updated ones now, we're still moving forward with all of it. And that's what I have for you today.
Thank you. Should we open it to public comment?
Okay, so the thing I want to hit on with this is, so since we're not doing the Parks Master Plan, we had a survey. That is the closest thing that we have to a Parks Master Plan is this park survey. So my question to you, Mr. Consley, what are you doing to seeing that this park survey is being put out to the residents, that they're participating, that they're giving their input and making them aware that the survey applies not just to Southgate Park, but all, 8 parks? And now Urban Orchard has to be park number 9. So that the survey applies to all the parks that we have in our city. I want this to be a priority going forward, especially now that we're hitting the summer months. This is the time to be going out there and reaching out to folks and letting them know about the park survey, because this is it. This is as close as we're going to get. You heard, who made the statement that the last time we did the Parks Master Plan was it 2008?
But go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, well, whenever the last time that we did a Parks Master Plan, it's I don't know how many years ago, but this is it. This is as close as we're going to get to that. Let's take an aggressive, super aggressive approach in putting out the park survey and making folks aware of this. That's all.
Jimmy Ozeda, Southgate resident. I guess my question is around the master plan. I guess the closest thing to Mr. Dominguez's point is the survey. I'm interested to see, I know it's been up, it's brought a couple of times over the last few months. How many surveys have been kind of completed to date? And I know it was actually great news to hear, like there was 400 folks that attended an event this last Saturday or some last week, some kind of concert in the park. How many surveys were conducted at that location during that event? And are we actively reaching out to the greater community specific to that survey? I know you guys have done a great job with promoting that. You know, I looked at maybe potential social media, working with the Chamber of Commerce. I don't know how much of that has actually come to life from the conversation and suggestions you all have provided. One of the great things about the master plan, and I think that's one of the things that Steve would probably reference, is it not only allows you to kind of, how do you sustain some of the work? I think it was music to my ears when I heard Gabriel mention, it's not just about growth, but it's also about sustainability. And when you go through that master plan, it also identifies the specific needs in our community. So when you look at Cesar Chavez Park, you can see the level of, or lack of investment and sustainability for that park throughout the years. I think the first segment that was kind of established, and Steve can probably speak to this, was the west side right off of Long Beach and between Long Beach and Alameda. Like that compared to the work that has been done east in Southgate is significant. So I love the fact that you guys are doing the surveys. I think that's going to be critical to identifying what the needs are as we move forward. Thank you.
I'm sorry, sir. Can you please state your name again? I wasn't able to get your name.
Jimmy Ozeda, Ozaeta, Southgate resident.
Thank you.
Thank you. Steve?
As for survey, Tina's been running that side of life.
I didn't get an update for this evening, but I know we have a couple hundred surveys that have been submitted, and we are still, putting it out there for people to fill out. But the survey, it's all done through a QR code. So it's just getting people to scan it and go that route to make it as simple as possible versus pen and paper.
And you have signs, right, that you have been posting?
Yeah, we
at
had
the
signs. There's still signs in the
events.
park. There's still signs at all of the facilities.
Right, and there are points where we can promote it more. As we hit different programming, different times, sometimes we get them out there, sometimes we don't. I don't remember if we had them out at the concert in the park.
I think they're at the booth.
Oh, at the booth, okay. So we have different activities that go on. We aim for specific things. We don't always flood the survey across the board on all of them, but it does get out.
Thank you.
Is it going to be at the grand opening for Urban Orchard?
I usually will have a staff because we'll have a booth there, so it'll be in there in our Parks and Rec booth. It'll just be the QR code there, so as people walk through.
Yeah, because I'll volunteer to be at that booth to help with spreading that word and being able to do that. And I think that's probably the closest thing to a master plan that we're going to get now, right? With getting some feedback from the community. So I think it's important because I know that last time when I believe Leslie from the swim stadium was here, she hadn't implemented that in the swim stadium. If we didn't have it at the concerts, it's people aren't going to know about this, and we want to make sure we get this information because I think it helps us with.
Leslie had it. They had it because it was posted at the facility, but I don't think it was being
Announced.
I don't think they were really telling people to like, hey,
Sure.
fill out the survey, but it was there and it was posted. It was posted on the doors and different things, different areas.
So maybe a little more, maybe pushing and promoting that. And another thing is that I know it's available through QR code, but is it possible to send out emails to people who have participated in some of the programming and just send them an email with the link saying, please give us your feedback and let us know how we're doing or something like that? That way, the database that already exists would receive that link and provide that information. Because if I remember correctly, last time around, there were maybe about 100 or a little over 100 responses, right? And from that time to now, we've maybe doubled it, right? But I mean, in the city of 100,000, I think we should be able to try to get that as much as possible. So if we can work on that and get that going, I think that would be great. It would definitely give us a lot of information for us to consider and make recommendations on that. Thank you.
Tina, do you have like iPads maybe that to give to the people that are there versus having to do a QR code?
We do, but typically the iPads that are usually in use
Mhm.
for registration, like iPad will be out there on Saturday, but they'll be taking like last minute registrations for the fun run, things like that. So they're utilizing it for other purposes.
So there's no more extra iPads that could be used for the
It won't be
survey?
used for the survey. There'll be a paper there saying like, to do the survey with the QR code on it.
Right.
But we're utilizing the iPad to register people for the fun run, and we can't use it for both.
Because there's only one iPad?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I think as long as we have some QR codes, like I said, and we email that, I'll be there for sure, and I'll help with getting that out. I don't know if some of my colleagues will be there, and maybe can jump in with that as well. But yeah, I think that would be, I think a great idea to have that there. Given that, I mean, do you have an expectation of attendees for this weekend?
Our hope right now it's a brand new park, but it's a little hidden. If it's not the easiest thing to get to, but our current concept is somewhere around 250.
Okay, well, if we can get even half of that, I think that'd be good. So, and then of course the email with the link, I think that would probably help us a great deal. Yeah, big sign.
Any other comments? No? All right. Can I get a motion to receive and file?
make the motion?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item number 4, annual report on cultural and arts programs.
Good evening, commissioners. So just give you a little rundown of this last year for the Social and Cultural Arts Division. Regarding special events, last summer we had our concerts in the park on Friday nights. They were new and improved. They had some new things there. They had a beer garden, they had the food trucks, they had vendors. They also had Rec on the Run for the kids as well. So just something new. Everybody seemed to like it. This year we're doing the same. And the attendance for our summer concert series was about 700 people on the weekend or on the Friday night. So it's a pretty good, decent turnout. Movies in the park last summer were held at the golf course as usual. And there they also did new additions there by adding on snack and ice cream trucks and stuff for the kids. No beer garden, but they definitely had things for the kids there to do. And those usually had about 200 people in attendance. And then they had their first annual family night, which was a family game night with Minute to Win It games. They had 40 people who registered, so that was sold out with that number. They had the Minute to Win It challenges. They served food for the families, and everybody just had a great time. It was a good event because they had everyone from 5 years old to our seniors kind of playing the games and doing things together. So it really brought the entire community together and catered to all ages. And then for Halloween, that was another big event as usual, and that went a major overhaul and revamp. And we had our showmobile stage out there. We had it nicely decorated. We had tons of people. They added on a slime station and cookie decorating and the trackless train, food truck. So it was a huge, big difference where typically it was just the games that took place there. So that was a good addition. And then the second family game night or family night was in November, where they had the sold out for the reptile show. They had 50 people attending that. And then they had a 2-hour interactive reptile show. And at the end, it was really neat to see the picture of a bunch of kids standing there holding this 15-foot python. So that was pretty cool. And then Veterans Day on November 9th, we had about 50 people attend. And we had one of our own Southgate residents, Felicia, who was the keynote speaker. We had, as usual, the Kiwanis kids who do their thank you letters to the veterans. And that's always a nice little touch. Just hearing heartfelt letters from the kids who show up there.
And the flags too.
And the flags, yeah, just the extra touch that they do and that they add, it goes a long way. And then we had our usual Santa's breakfast, which was on December 9th. We had 400 people registered, another sold out event. I would say for the most part, all of our cultural and social division events have been sold out. So that's just, it's across the board. And then the new addition there was they added hot chocolate into the mix for the kids. So everybody seemed to really enjoy that. And then a couple new events. There was our Ties and Tiaras, which is a dance for like a father-daughter, or like a special male figure and daughter dance. And that was, they had a photo booth. They served them dinner. Everybody came dressed like in formal attire. So it was really cute just to see the exchange when they did the father and daughter did a gift exchange there, and that was really neat. And then to go with that one was also the mom prom that they had in April. Again, another sold out event, similar to mom prom, except it was a 80s theme. So everybody came in like retro 80s outfits, and they had 80s music. It was glow in the dark. They had black lights out there, and just fun event for everyone. And then Easter we did the golf course, took it back outside again. We didn't have any bad weather this year. And then again, just revamped it, threw the showmobile stage out there. It looked a lot more decorative, a lot more festive. We had the typical egg hunt, and then we added on the first ever adult egg hunt. And again, everybody seems to really enjoy it, young and the old. And then as far as our programs, for our youth programs, Tiny Twos and Tiny Tots, they had a few less classes offered just due to staff shortages. But thankfully they're still able to do a couple trips in there, and the weather was good, so they were able to do Wild Rivers, and people really enjoyed that one. So we planned that one again this year. And then the fall season, they did a trunk or treat event. That was something that was new and different. The parents wanted to do something for their kids, so they had over 50 decorative vehicles, and they did prizes for the funniest and spookiest and most creative cars for the trunk or treat. That was pretty neat. I was actually out there. I was able to be one of the judges for that, and it was just really cool just seeing all the parents just get so into it for the kids. And the parents did it on their own, and paid for their own decorations for their vehicles, and they really went all out for the kids. So that was awesome. And then for spring season, they did their excursions. They had excursions to Alley County Fair and to Adventure City, which is very age appropriate for that age group. It's just like I don't know if you've been there, but it's a toddler like theme park with the carousel and little roller coasters, but very, very fitting for like that young age. So, and then the Little Chefs, that usually is a very popular program. They were also at maximum capacity, and they taught kids how to cook barbecue chicken and Cornish hens and fruit parfaits and all that stuff. So those programs are going well. Regarding the senior center, they offered yoga, loteria, and some mental health groups during the summertime. And then the HSA lunch program was, again, like this is a cornerstone of the things that are being offered at the senior center, providing healthy meals every day. During the fall time, they offered a special ESL tailored class that teaches seniors how to about recipes and like eating healthy. And then in the wintertime, they had their full calendar of excursions that just, again, bring the seniors together. I think throughout the whole year, obviously, or throughout every season, they have all their trips that are always sold out and very popular. And then in the spring, just as in years past, the seniors went to the annual Southeast Senior Ball, which actually originated here in Southgate by Steve. He's one of the founding fathers of that. Basically, it's 12 cities who participated in the Senior Ball, where they bring their 50 seniors out. And I've attended that event a few times, and it's crazy just to see that they have the biggest dance floor they could possibly set up at the Commerce Casino, and the floor is filled like there's not an inch to dance. There's even people dancing on the carpet around because it's just full of seniors dancing, and just to see them all just mingling, it's a really neat thing to see. It's just like, it's awesome. And then for golf course, they have their same programs going on, and then they added they have the same programs that they offer regularly, and then they have the high schools that practice there and compete there. And then in addition to that, they had golf tournaments that they brought back, which have been pretty popular since they started bringing them back, and they're going to keep them going. They give a trophy for the winners, and they get some golf themed prizes and stuff. So golf is definitely, the numbers have definitely increased from the previous year. And then for cultural arts, their summer, they had their third annual Zion Fiesta, which is pretty popular. And then in the The next season, they have their art walk, which had 5 workshops, live DJs, visual artists, vendors, artisans, and all that. And then in the springtime, they just finished up their exhibit, Jugamos, or playgrounds, and they had 62 art submissions for that. I was able to attend that one. That was a nice event as well. So everything's moving forward in the social and, art and cultural division. That's my report.
This is great. Thank you so much. Do any of my colleagues have any comments or questions?
Yeah, just regarding the golf course, I know that there was I think one of the council meetings, there's going to be some days obviously cut, right? And one of the gentlemen that was here mentioned something about he volunteered himself to volunteer and help keep this facility open. Are there options to do something like that, Steve? Is it something? I know that there's a lot of
Or
things
is
to.
him working, you're saying?
Well,
Volunteering to work? Or what do you-
to volunteer in a sense, volunteer is time to help with some of the, I guess, services that will be affected, and not just in the golf course, but I mean park wide with other programming and stuff. Are there something that some things that have been discussed maybe to try to address that?
We can always use volunteers in certain areas, but as we discuss the cuts that are coming, and I'll talk about that in my director's report, as we get to those things, there are essential places you need employees in life. And to operate, our golf course is usually operated by a one-man operation every day. And so we would not be able to throw a volunteer in there because of cash handling, fingerprinting, different things like that all have to go as part of this. If they're treated like an employee, you have to pay them like an employee. There's different things there, so you can't take a employee position, volunteering out, then the unions get mad, everyone gets mad.
Sure.
So you have to basically, if it were, hey, I could help pick trash up, sure, but hey, I can come do what you already advertise as a job on a volunteer basis. That leads you into some legal issues of life.
So maybe I guess what I'm saying is in other areas where a volunteer can be placed and maybe free up an employee that can then work at the golf course, for example. Are those some things that have maybe?
There are possibilities but people miss the part that it almost takes a full-time person just to coordinate the volunteers. But that's part of the issue that comes along with volunteers. While you volunteer, there's no guarantee because you're not getting paid that you're going to show up, and then all of a sudden you leave something empty, so you can't leave critical positions in that thing. We have volunteers. I have 650 volunteers listed for our athletic programs, our different things all over the place, but we can't always put them into critical positions.
Okay.
Open up to public comment.
So the request that I have is, I don't know about you all, but I love burlesque. I would love to see for our art and culture here, can we get some burlesque performers performing in our auditorium and have it be something for a more mature crowd? I would love to see burlesque there. The other thing is magic. I don't know how you feel about magic. Can we get some magicians and have some magic done inside of our auditorium? So that's my request, to see some burlesque shows in our auditorium for the adults, and some magic also. Who's against magic? All right, that's all I have.
Alrighty, can I get a motion to receive and file?
Motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And so now on to the director's report, calendar of events.
My only director's report is a little bit about what you mentioned already is the city council has not approved a budget yet. It'll take place on the 22nd of July. As the commission knows, because we as a commission actually go over the Parks and Recreation budgeting, our goals and objectives and stuff. And we explained this early on that we were aiming at a no change budget from 24-25 to 25-26 across the board. And that's what we proposed to our city manager and council, we've received some cuts from that already. And then there are some additional cuts that have been suggested along with the overall budget for the city, which is in a structural deficit as a city. Some of those have been implemented already to make sure that we're able to follow through on them. And some of those are, the pool has been closed on Fridays. The golf course has been closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. And so both those are already in that. We're still waiting on council decisions for the rest of it, but I wanted to make sure the commission knew as part of that program. And we've also got a temporary hold on fee waivers because we don't know what's happening with the overall council request. And it's taken longer than the normal June 30th deadline. And we've got some people who've asked for certain things. We have not, while we are still renting out all the facilities we would normally rent, anything that is a fee waiver, we put a hold on because that's one of the areas that the council is looking at for changes. So just so the commission knows, you know, you can't say, hey, we're going to give you back this much money for X, Y, Z, but you don't actually do it until 3 months later. You don't, that money's not there anymore. So just so you guys are aware. And after that, I'll pass it to Tina.
For me, I would say report was summer kickoff took place June 11th. They had about 400 to 500 people in attendance. So you guys had a little booth set up so everybody can kind of know what all the different areas and programs that we're offering in Parks and Rec, and had jumpers, games, food, and all that. So good event with, like I said, 400 to 500 people attending that. And then we did Ballin' After Dark on July 2nd. There's 8 teams that participated. It was a fun night, good music. Overall, just good atmosphere. Everybody seemed to have a good time. And then we have a couple more of the Dodgeball After Dark and Volleyball After Dark that are upcoming in as well. Like I said, Urban Orchard this weekend, and then next weekend will be the fun run. So I know that we were at, last I checked, there are over 500 people registered for the fun run. So it's pretty decent considering the times that we're in, people being scared to come out and all that. We were kind of worried about what kind of numbers we were going to get, but like I said, we're a little over 500, and we had kind of anticipated about 600. So we think that between now and then we might be able to reach that goal of 600. So we'll see where we go. And then on the 26th of July, there's a Zion Fiesta, the 4th annual one. And then in August, we have the family camp night. So so far we had increased the numbers from 25 families to 40 families, and we're at a little over 25, I think, already registered. So it is filling up, and we still have some time to go for that. And then the family night magic show is on September 19th. So we got some magic going on September 19th with Family Magic Show. So look for that.
Good evening, Commissioners. The Parks Division this time of the year is very busy with maintenance, and so staff have been concentrating on irrigation maintenance and repair. You've probably seen everybody out there moving dirt around or just trying to keep the parks green and clean. That's what we concentrate on this time of the year. Thank you.
Great. Any questions or? No? As far as the budget, Steve, why was the golf course? Why was the pool decided on to be closed on Fridays versus any other day?
The city's going through it, and they showed it in some of the slides on the council side, is that we had to make cuts somewhere.
No, but why was Friday chosen instead of?
That's actually the least.
That's the
day
least
that
impactful.
impacted the least amount of people.
Oh wow!
So as a whole, that's the least amount. So
And we only opened Fridays a year and a half, 2 years ago. We traditionally, throughout most of my time here, never had a pool open on Friday. Or sometimes in summer, we'd open them just for the afternoon swims because it was hot in summer. But most of the year, Fridays were always closed. So as you start dialing back of what we can and can't do, it's easier to take the ones that have the least impact, and that's why it was Friday.
And as far as the temporary hold on fee waivers, I feel like when I've looked into booking places in the past, there was a reduced fee for nonprofits. Is that something that still happens for other nonprofits, or was
We have a nonprofit fee.
Okay.
We have a commercial fee and a nonprofit fee for the Parks and Recreation Department, but, which we would rent you the place now.
Yeah.
But the request to waive all your fees is a different animal.
And that goes for, usually for organizations that work in the city, right? Or,
Right, well, it's in the city, benefits the city. You guys as a commission get a fee waiver report every year. I
yeah.
think last year's report had us at almost $600,000 in fee waivers, Anna?
Yeah.
It's somewhere
Yeah.
around there, so that's a significant budgetary item if we're giving away $600,000 in fee waivers. Now, some of those are in-house because you count them differently than we expected. So everyone would normally come because you book a place early. They come at the beginning of July to book all your stuff through the first 6 months of the year. That's where we would pick up a ton of fee waivers, but we don't want to do that yet if that's not going to be a program that's going to move forward.
What about families that apply for reduced fees or anything like that for any of the programs?
That's not through the regular budget. That is through
Through the
our
foundation.
Friends of Southgate Park.
Okay, so that's not gonna be affected.
That's not going to change, no.
Got it. Thank you.
One question, are we, so now we're implementing that nonprofit fee, for example, for anyone that would previously request the whole fee be waived. Is that now what's being done?
There's a whole fee waiver policy. I don't have it in front of me. You have to qualify for a fee waiver in the first part. Government entity, nonprofit, you would have to show you're a 501c3 or a qualified nonprofit to get those rates. If you got the fee waiver, most likely, if you still wanted to use the facility, you would move to that. But the fee waiver affects across the board for not only that, but for government entities, right? So LAUSD, one of our bigger fee waiver programs, would have to come back now and either do the nonprofit or commercial rates for us.
Okay, so we're gonna, I guess, try to
If we
collect
get,
something from them.
if we did, we get it. If not, the facilities would not be available.
Right,
And the nonprofit's not new. It's not a new thing. It's
No,
always existed. It's just that
right, but we just haven't charged it
Just-
in the past, right?
if you apply for the fee waiver, we
you
review it and
qualified,
give
right.
it to you if there's a reason to.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe can we revisit or visit that policy maybe given the budgetary situation? I think
That would not be, at this point, wouldn't be a policy that would be reviewed by you guys. That's currently under review by the council.
okay. I mean, is there somewhere we can find that policy just to familiarize myself with it, or is that something that maybe?
Fee waiver policy, I'm sure we can get that out to all of commissioners.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? No? All right, on to the Parks and Recreation Commission Subcommittee reports.
If you want to, usually at this point, you guys have asked your questions, then you just ask if you want any other agenda items for later. Either or.
I would like to see that MOU with Legacy, just to kind of familiarize myself with that as well, so that we know what exactly. I would imagine there's a benefit on both ends, right? And I'd like to know what the cities or the community is getting in exchange for Legacy to be able to use that. So if we can get that, and then I mean, just a few suggestions, I guess, for this upcoming Urban Orchard, if we can get like that QR code in like a big format, like a poster or something like that.
it's just very costly. Each one of those
Right.
posters, when we make them, are $50 a sheet. So that's why we just make them in the smaller size and try to tell people, have staff
Right.
promoting it. Just
I mean, because, well, even like a banner, for example, right? I know that it's money, of course, right? But it's way cheaper than a master plan. So I think that it would be something that we would get our bang for our buck and something like that. So just a suggestion. And what else? Well, I guess we can talk about the budgets once city council makes that decision, then we can maybe visit that. So I'll save that till next time.
So my memory's pretty shoddy lately, but there was a resident at the last council meeting, not this week's, but the previous one that spoke to us. Did you want to bring up the comment?
So it was regarding the restrooms because she's got a special needs child that she wanted to discuss, and I reached out to her to have her come to this meeting. She's not here, but she asked about some sort of accommodation at the restroom for special needs. I don't recall exactly what it was, but did
I do. I've talked to the young lady.
okay.
Actually, we've had a couple conversations, and she has someone who's on the autism spectrum. And she had noted that at State Street Park, that the restrooms at times get dirty and have other things in them that shouldn't be in there. But that's, and we told her, we clean them 3 times a day. We go out there, we do this stuff, but we can't always stop what the public does. And she was talking about, it's a sensory problem for her child, is both the smell and stuff there causes the issue. We're in the process of upgrading the doors on those places. If you've been to the Hollydale community ones, you'll see the door process we're going through. And we've talked about this a little, which would help because then we would have our hope is a cleaner, more manageable place because people can't lock themselves in. So we're working on that as a standard across the city. She also understood that we can't put a person at the bathroom. That's just not possible. But she also wanted, her bigger question was, could we get some more patrol in that area from the police department? And we talked to the captain there, Sergio Camacho, and he knew the lady because he deals with our autism spectrum children, and they've talked about it, and he's actually gotten some more patrols over in the area.
What about our security, our private security company?
We have our private security. They are working in full force right now, allowing them more at Southgate Park while we take our regular rangers and they get some of the outside duties more. So it's helped greatly.
Yeah.
We've had more people on, a lot less things to deal with, but we're still not, no bathroom is getting a security guard. It's just not happening.
Has maintenance been impacted by the budgetary cuts?
As what?
Maintenance, park maintenance?
We will give up stuff as part of them when they decide what's happening. There was our overall cuts, depending on what the council decides, are going to be significant. Our initial cuts are probably going to be somewhere in the area of 125,000 overall, possibly, depending on what council takes. But we're moving that around to different functions. It's coming out of all of the different divisions of the Parks and Recreation Department. So maintenance is losing some, Parks and Rec is losing some, admin's losing some, across the board.
Got it. Any other comments or questions for this? Or any requests for items on future agendas?
Just the MOU stuff.
No, those wouldn't be future agendas. We can probably share those
Okay.
as emails to the commission.
All right. Sounds good.
All righty. So we can adjourn. It is 8:44 p.m. Thank you, everybody. Gavel.
Look at it.
A motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
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 Thanks.
So the thing I want to say to the commissioners is I asked Gladys Dedis if she could put together, give us a tour